Get it. Get it. Yeah.
So here is our Franken monster. You can find this on my website, which is ambillustrations.com. All right, so to start with, I'm going to use, believe it or not, a highlighter. Yeah, it's called a Sharpie highlighter. And you know, they come in yellows, pinks, blues, purples, and oranges. And believe it or not, I find that this makes quite a nice base. So all I'm doing right now is just putting a base coat. If you want, a little bit like painting, you put like your underlayer of paint. And don't worry, you know, if it doesn't look even, it's not going to show at the end of this drawing, because we're going to be using crayons on top of this to make it shade, and to make it look more real. I'm just touching up a couple places here and there. Hang on a second. Okay. So now I'm going to go with red. Now, these markers are actual Pantone markers, which they don't make anymore, unfortunately. You could use any kind of marker you have. You can use Copic. You could use just basic markers. It's all the same thing. I've chosen like a warm red. Okay, so I'm going to try to find, I think purple. I'm not sure if I want purple or orange for his hair, but I'm thinking purple maybe. Whoops. No more ink in this one. Let's see. Okay, this is not exactly the purple I wanted, but I think it'll look good. Hang on. All right, so I'm just going to color in his hair purple. And I don't know if I've told you, but I've made 28 different masks like this that you could color in. So that's going to be quite fun to do. I'm not going to do them all. I think the next one I'm going to do is going to be a dinosaur. So now I'm just putting the base going on just like the highlighters. I'm not, you know, doing too much right here. You see, even though this is a Pantone marker and it is more expensive, quite a bit more expensive, you see how when you overlap the markers, the marker ink, how it still does the same thing as the highlighter. So, but that won't show later. So there's my base, the base of my hair, the base of my face, the base of my skin. Okay, so, I want a sort of a beigeish color, but I'm not crazy about these colors. And I always test the colors first all the time, because I just want to make sure before I apply it to a whole drawing. So I don't want to really do it. I don't want to redo it over again. So I'm creating like a type of shadow, and I'm not putting it all in. I'm not really being careful, you know, of how I'm you know, coloring it in. As you can see, this is not on speed. This is not a speed drawing right now, but yeah, I'm just like putting it in here and there. And the ones at the back of the mouth are a little bit more full than the ones in the front because they're more in the shadow. All right, so now I'm going to use my crayons. I love Faber-Castell, but there are many other ones. There's Prismacolors, there's the spider ones, there's Canadiana, there's all kinds, and that's fine. They all work pretty well. So I'm going to look for, hang on a second, a nice little green for his lips. And I'm making it just a little bit lighter because you see how intense the highlighter is, and that's fine, like I said, for the base. Now I'm looking for my ultramarine, and why I look for the ultramarine now, because the ultramarine will be the shadowy parts of it, is I like to put a bit of the shadows, you know, when I'm working. It's not, I don't put them at the end. I like to put them a little bit here and there as I am going along. So I'll start with under, so under the ear. And I'm pressing very, very lightly. Now I'm pressing a little bit hard on the inner ear, underneath the cheekbone. Underneath his eyes, dark circles, tired. He's a tired Franken monster. Now I'm putting a paper underneath because I'm feeling texture underneath where I'm drawing, so it's not feeling great. And usually I like to have like a couple of sheets of paper underneath. That helps me a lot, and I believe it creates a smoother drawing when you do that. Now the ultramarine for the shadow, I'm doing it lightly, but I'm doing a lot of like coats of crayon, if you want, underneath. I don't want to press too hard right off the bat. His chin. I'm not pressing very hard at this point. I'm just following the lines of the drawing, really. Around his lip, because in the back the lip is further apart than in the front. Yeah, so I'm back at the ear, and I'm back at the eyebrow again. I like to dibble and dabble a little bit everywhere on my drawing. While I'm applying the shadows, I'm just like delicately applying the shadow to different parts of his face. His wrinkles. Middle of his forehead where his eyebrows meet. And I'm going to accentuate the lines of his eyebrows. Now I'm pressing quite a bit harder because I know where his ear is. It's dark. Under his nose, even though his nose is squished to his face. Yes, I'm accentuating the lip, the creases on his upper lip. And I'm even going to make it a little bit, I'm going to accentuate it, I think, a little bit more. Now I'm just passing like a light green, and you see how it's not a light green, it's almost like an olive-ish green, but see how it sort of smooths things out from the markers. And just going to add a little bit more color here. It's just layers of color, really. That's what I think makes the drawings look more real. It's just layers and layers of color, different colors. So I'm going for a little bit of an emerald green that's more close to the highlighter color. And just a little bit more around his nose to make it more, you know, consistent with the rest of his face. I'm hiding in a little bit of the white that the marker left. There we go. So now I'm going to smooth out the forehead. See what I mean? It looks just a little bit better with the crayon on top of the marker. What I like about crayons, why I like crayons so much, and what I like about crayons is the fact that you could put multiple layers of like similar colors and it'll give you shade and light, while markers, it's very difficult to do it out of markers. There we go, that's a heck of a lot better. Let me see. Yeah. Going for a little darker blue, ultramarine blue. I'm pressing a little harder now, especially around here and here. Oh, there too. On the sides of his nose. And now I'm going to create the illusion of his lips curling towards his teeth by creating shade. You could tell this is, I'm pressing a little bit harder because the camera's shaking. Alright, so here too it's a little bit receded, so I'm going to be making it darker. Definitely here. Okay, his back, the back of his jaw. Again, more under his lip. I'm contouring his chin. On the sides of his cheek, making just less white, more filling if you want. And even though it's blue, see, it doesn't really show where I'm filling on the side of his cheek. It's a bit of a dark brown. And yes, I would like to make his teeth just a little bit more old, used, disgusting. I'm just drawing lines here and there. And I think it does make a big difference, huge difference to have those lines in there. This is how it should be. But it's all a question of taste, isn't it? So yeah, his teeth in the back are darker. It's in the shadow. We don't see that. And yes, this part too of inside of his mouth. And the shadow that his lip creates on his bottom teeth and on his top teeth. You can feel that his mouth is a little bit more 3D, don't you? Well, I do. I think it's getting so much better. There we go. Pretty good. Could have made it darker, the bottom back teeth, but no, that's okay. All right, so the eyes now, because they're stark white, right? So we got to put shadow underneath. His eyebrows would create an incredible dark, deep set eye. So I'm just going to put some gray. I'm trying to think right now what color I should make his eyes. That could be an interesting... Did you think I was going to have blue eyes? No, no. It's in his eyeball, just to make it look just a little bit more real. Give it that round look to it. Yep. Did you think I was going to do with that color? That looks pretty good. Looks fierce. Now what? Okay, so I'm going to go darken that a little bit more. I'm using that ultramarine blue, navy blue, ultramarine blue. There we go. That looks so much better. So I'm just doing it a little bit, I'm a little bit rougher right now, but it's because I'm more sure of where I'm going and what I want. Yeah, and I'm going over the the more intense shadow part of the eyes with my navy blue. Guess what I'm gonna do now? Veins. These eyes need veins. There we go. Oh my gosh, yeah. So much better. So if you have a marker, if you don't have a marker, sharpen your red pencil to the pointiest that it can be sharpened and make those little lines. Oh yeah, I like that. Well, we're getting there. We're almost done. I'm just going to smooth out the teeth because they're not white. So I'm just putting a little bit of like light yellowish cream color to it. And it's just because, no, this guy could not have white teeth. All right, so let me attack his hair next. So next to his root, yeah, it's black, but I'm just going to make it a little bit more interesting. I'm pressing fairly hard here. I'm just drawing lines, like you could see, following the lines. There we go. Just follow, and when you're stepping, when I'm coloring like hard on the base where I'm starting, and then I'm just like flickering my pencil so it's lighter at the end of my stroke. There we go, that looks pretty good. Always step back from your drawing too. It's like it's really neat to look at it a little bit further and saying, okay, how's this going? How does this look? The neat thing, if you really don't like where you're at with the mask, you can always try another one, or just reprint the one that you received with your digital prints. just some over, like I said, the more layers of color, the more real it looks, the better it looks. So I'm putting a navy blue, not just the purple, but the navy blue there. And in this case, it's not too much for the shadow, but for the depth of it, to have texture in his hair. And back to my green so that I can make it more consistent. There we go. And as you see, look at that now. When I put it over the where I passed the crayon, it just looks a little bit darker. It's wet. It stays wet for a bit because it's not being absorbed right away, but there we are. Hope you like this drawing, this coloring. I hope I helped you color, and just have fun.